Hey y'all, it's X, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be doing a 3-round mock draft, our first of the entire year. It's going to be split up into 2 videos. We're going to be doing round 1 in this video, and then we're going to be doing rounds 2 and 3 in another video. That should be uploaded the next day if I'm on top of my stuff, but it depends. We're going to see how busy my schedule gets. But yeah. A lot of things have changed. Thank you again for all the support on the mock draft from last week. That video's gone absolutely insane, and I'm not really sure why. You guys, I don't know if maybe I just did better with marketing that one. I don't know. But again, thank you guys. I appreciate every person who watches my videos, who subs. I'm really passionate about this. So again, all support is encouraged and appreciated. But another quick thing I wanted to say before we start is, I am not like an expert on this stuff at all. So one thing I absolutely love, I love engaging with you guys in the comments. Like, that is my favorite thing to do with these videos, is because I'm not a fan of all 32 NFL teams. I do not watch all 32 NFL teams. I know what my team and the Giants wants and what we need because I'm a Giants fan. You guys are fans of the other 31 teams in the NFL. So I would love to hear opinions on what players you like, what positions you think I should prioritize. Like, help me become better. Again, I appreciate all like constructive criticism or helpful suggestions on what players you want to see for your favorite team, so that I can research them more and, give you guys what you guys want and what actually should happen. Because again, I'm not an expert on this stuff by any means. I'm very, very new to scouting and things like that. So yeah, but either way, remember to leave a like and sub if y'all mess with the content, and let's jump right in. So I know in the last mock I did say that I was going to experiment with Shedeur Sanders at 1. However, my opinions on Shedeur Sanders have drastically changed over the past week. I've listened to a lot more opinions. I've done a lot more like scouting of my own. I've rewatched a lot of Shedeur Sanders' tape just in my free time. I'm starting to be of the opinion that like he's a lot less NFL ready than I thought he was. I thought his processing was a lot better than it really was. Like, I think the biggest thing that just scares me with Shedeur Sanders as a top-end quarterback is he has not great pocket presence. I think that's the one thing that scares me with him. He takes a lot of unnecessary sacks, and I do think that there are times where he will either bail on an empty bail on a clean pocket, or honestly just not feel pass rush coming, and he will like just take unnecessary sacks. Like you said, he drops back really, really far. I don't really understand why. And I know Colorado hasn't had the best offensive line, but I don't like seeing that at the next level, especially when you're especially a team like the Giants at 3, because again, like, that might be where he ends up. I don't love that. But either way, my new QB1 is going to be Cam Ward. I am of the opinion that he is going to go first overall. And I do think that he is worth that pick. I think, like I've talked about, the pocket presence with him is really, really good. That's an elite trait that he has that's going to translate really well to the NFL. Obviously, has a really strong arm and just a lot of upside. You can teach him a lot. You can develop him a lot more than I think you can with Shedeur. Like, I think a lot of Shedeur's traits just aren't on that higher end, and I think that's going to be a problem, to be honest. So we're going to go with Cam Ward at 1. However, I am going to keep my promise with last week, and we're going to experiment with the Browns passing on quarterback at 2, and I'm going to go with Abdul Carter. He is my best defensive player in the class outside of Travis Hunter, and I just don't think the Browns need a Travis Hunter. That's the reason I wouldn't go with him here. But Abdul Carter is he's becoming my favorite edge in this class. I think I'm still going to go with James Pierce just as a true edge, but I do think there is still a little bit more work that Abdul Carter needs to have done to truly be like an elite pass rusher in the NFL. But I think he is taking those steps. I mean, 1 year of being a full-time edge rusher and he's this dominant, I mean, the sky's the limit. So just betting on that. You're the Browns. You've developed Myles Garrett before. I know that was some years ago now, but you've kept him as a amazing player. I feel like even just that mentorship aspect right there of Abdul Carter learning from somebody like a Myles Garrett could be very helpful as well. Giants here, pick 3. I would absolutely hate for them to take quarterback here. I know that it's going to happen. It sucks because any other year, whether it's last year, 2 years ago, or 2 years ago, it was 2 years ago. Please tell me 2 years ago wasn't like the Kenny Pickett was a minute ago. I don't know what draft was 2 years ago, but like next year or last year, I'm running to the podium with whatever quarterback is on the board. This year, I don't really want Shedeur Sanders. However, I do think that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are on the hot seat, and they're going to make the self-preserving pick in Shedeur Sanders, because that is going to be the person who maybe extends the leash the very, very short leash that they're on right now. So yeah, I don't love it. Sadly, I would not be happy with quarterback. My dream pick is probably Travis Hunter. Just because Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, even Mason Graham I'm open to. Like, I feel like him and Dexter Lawrence would be monstrous together, but just not a quarterback this year, man. But it is what it is. Patriots at pick 4. I think Travis Hunter is probably the best player on the board for them. I don't really want to let him slip past 4, so I think we're just going to do that. I don't really see any reason to change that up. Like, I thought about like a Mason Graham, a Tyrell McMillan, because a lot of the time I've been basing like, okay, will T. Higgins end up on this team? And that's why I hadn't really gone too much into the Tyrell McMillan hype, but I really do think that that's a legitimate thought for pick 4. But I'm going to go Travis Hunter. Again, he could end up being a receiver, could end up being a corner. We've had this conversation a billion times before. I'm not going to keep doing it. We already know what the deal with Travis Hunter is. He's an amazing player. Something I will touch on, though. I know I just said I wouldn't spend a lot of time on him. He could end up being a safety. I watch Alex from Hail Mary Sports a lot. He talks about how Travis Hunter has like the elite ball skills and IQ that a very, very elite free safety would have. So if corner and receiver don't work out for him, I think he could be an elite safety. I do agree with him on that. Pick number 5 here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's between the two Michigan guys. It's Will Johnson or it's Mason Graham. I don't remember what I did last week. I think I am going to go with Will Johnson, sorry. I do just think that Will Johnson is a little bit more of a need. I don't love their DB like room at all. I do think that Mason Smith is still being developed on the interior for Jacksonville, so I think you already have some hope there, whereas your DB room just isn't amazing. Pick 6 here for the Raiders. If they didn't fire their GM, I might consider Ashton Jeanty. And I don't really agree with them firing their GM at all. They honestly had a great offseason last year. Like, you got guys like Brock Bowers, obviously, but like Sincere McCormick wasn't a bad pick at all. Like, I feel like Christian Wilkins is a good signing. Like, being able to do that. Like, I don't know if they should have fired their GM. AP being fired as head coach, I don't really agree with either. Like, I know they weren't good, but also, what is that roster? I know I just credited their GM, but I feel like long term, I felt like those guys would be better, but I don't know. Either way, it's a long-winded way of saying we're going with the same Tedero McMillan pick that I always make. Jets here. I know last week I tested out the tackle idea. I think in reality, you're running to the podium and taking Mason Graham. I really just wanted to test out tackle because I just love Mason Graham to the Panthers. I love him next to Derek Brown. I mean, if I love him next to Derek Brown, I will love him even more next to Quinnen Williams. It's really, yeah, I mean, there's that as well. But pick 8 here for the Carolina Panthers. I've come on board to the Jalen Walker hype train at pick 8. I don't know, like, the comp is basically like Frankie Louvu, because you can basically drop him into coverage. You can also bring him off the edge like Frankie Louvu did for them and now does in Washington. But I'm going to go with my edge 2 in this class. Really could end up being edge 1, but he's my favorite edge. Doesn't mean I have him graded the highest, but James Pierce Jr. at pick 8. I've said this for so long. He had number 1 pick hype at the beginning of the year. Why are we not giving him that same top 5 hype? I really think that he showed that he is taken a step as a pass rusher that he did not take last year. And I do think that, like, he is honestly the best true edge in this class. Like, Abdul Carter, you're basically saying, like, yes, he was very dominant this year because of his athleticism. I do think he needs to polish his technique a little bit more. He really was a very, very good athlete, and that's what made him difficult to block. I'm not saying he doesn't have good technique, but man, James Pierce, you were supposed to be the number 1 pick, and now people are just like, yeah, I mean, to pick 28 to the Ravens, I've seen that a couple times. I'm like, that's way too low. Come on, show him some respect. Pick 9 here for the Saints. Man, if Mason Graham are here, that's a dream pick for me, because Brian Brzee is not a 3-down interior defensive lineman. He is very much a pass rusher, so getting someone who could stop the run, that would be a dream for them. I think you probably would go tackle for them. Like, I've gone Will Campbell a couple of times. Luther Burden's interesting if you want to give them another weapon. I just don't know if I'm going to go with him that high. Tight end is a thought. They do use a lot of tight ends there. I just don't know if I'm going a tight end top 10. That might be a stretch. You could go Kelvin Banks if you want to go another tackle, or Josh Simmons if you believe in that. Saints are getting like harder to pick for, honestly. Like, edge is another one that I thought of. I don't love Mikael Williams to the team, but I'm also not going to take like a Nick Scorton this high. You know what? Maybe I am going to. No, we're not going to. I think I'm going to do the Will Campbell thing. I feel like that's just the most cop-out answer at this point, where I'm just like, he's a solid offensive lineman. If he doesn't work out at tackle, he's going to work out at guard. If he doesn't work out at left tackle, or if he doesn't work out at right tackle, you can try him at left and Fuaga at right, because you know he can play there. You can try him at guard. I feel like there's just like, I don't know if there's just a world where Will Campbell is just a complete bust. I feel like he has to be good somewhere in the offensive line. Man, try him at center. Please, do something. Like, I feel like he has to be good somewhere. I don't know. I think the arm length is just the biggest concern as to why he can't stay a tackle. And also, he's not good against agile pass rushers, like, at all. Anybody with, like, a lot of agility or bend, he struggles so hard against. And there's so much tape out there showing it. I don't know if he sticks a tackle. Either way, pick 10 for the Bears. I've wanted to go Ashton Jeanty for a really long time because I'm not a big DeAndre Swift guy. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to continue to just, like, bite my tongue here and just be like, I can't do it. I'm going to go Mikael Williams. I think they can afford to take somebody who's more of a project. My opinion on Mikael Williams is slipping a little bit. I do think that, like, he has potential and he has really, really high-end tools. I know Trayvon Walker is, I guess, not in a lot of people's eyes because you're comparing him to the Aiden Hutchinson pick. He hasn't really worked out. He's been really solid for the Jags. He back-to-back 10-sack seasons. I know it's not the metric that you grade by, but, like, I do think that there is value to taking these guys with high-end traits. You basically could get Trayvon Walker or, who was the guy last year? What's his name? Tyree Wilson to the Raiders. You could either get that. But I think Mikael Williams, like, he's solid. He played through injury this year. Like, his production wasn't out of this world. I do have, like, issues with him, but I do think the tools are there. And I think the Bears have honestly done a really, really good job with their edge rushers. Like, I believe Austin Booker, he's been pretty solid for them. I believe it's Austin Booker. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. But obviously Montez Sweat's been really good for them since he got there. Like, I do think I have faith in the Bears to develop him. Hopefully that wasn't an Eberflus thing now that he's gone, but we'll see. San Francisco here at pick 11. Do I just wash the entire edge rush group off the board and just go Scorton here? I've thought about it, but I do think with Kelvin Banks on the board, you just go tackle. Jeanty to the Cowboys. Cool. We'll move on. That's kind of just the pick. I don't think I need to say too much about this because we've done this a billion times. And it's going to continue to happen. Miami here at 13. This is interesting. I've recently seen Jalen Walker be a pick to them. Just somebody who he kind of fits what they look for. Like, they had Andrew Van Ginkel at one point, right? So, like, that's somebody who he would that's honestly not a terrible Jalen Walker comp, honestly. That's honestly a really, really solid Jalen Walker comp, is Andrew Van Ginkel. So if you want to replace that role, you could have him and Chop Robinson for the future because Jalen Phillips can't stay healthy, Bradley Chubb can't stay healthy. You don't know what you're getting with those guys yet. But I don't know. I feel like they have bigger needs, so I enjoy the pick, but I'm going to wait on it for a little bit. And do I want to go Malachi Starks? I don't think so. I do kind of want him to fall a little bit. But where else are we going? Like, Josh Simmons is interesting. I'm not taking a guard this high in Booker. Maybe it is Malachi Starks. Man, it's just really hard to draft for this team. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're going to go with Malachi Starks. He's really, really good. I wanted him to fall for a little bit just because of the reasons I've talked about many, many times before, but It is what it is. Colts, we're back to drafting tight end of the first round. We're going Tyler Warren. I want to see Anthony Richardson have a target that he can actually hit. Tyler Warren's also a great blocker for them in the run game. I think he's just very, very well-rounded, can offer them a lot. And I think it's just going to be very, very solid for Anthony Richardson's development. Pick 15 for the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to go with Jalen Walker. Again, another very, very good pick for them. Just get somebody on the opposite side of Arnold Ebiketie. Good fit for them as well. I believe you could also, like I said, he's just going to be very versatile. You can drop him into coverage if you need to. He very much fits this 3-4. Cardinals here at 16. I want to start the Walter Nolan hype train because I think his traits are going to get him really. He's going to get taken really high, I think. You could also talk about Jihad Campbell. Nick Scorton you could talk about as well. Honestly, I think this is like the ceiling for where Mike Green could go. Like, this is the highest point where I would see Mike Green go. I've always been like a big, you could take a cornerback guy here. By the way, I am going to have Benjamin Morrison coming out in this one, which is not usual. Like, I haven't been doing that a lot. I am going to have him come out. He hasn't declared yet, but I don't know. I just want to play around with it and see how it goes. But either way, for the Cardinals, I think I am going to go Scorton. Yeah, let's go with Nick Scorton. I like that pick for them. Bengals here at 17. Man, this is kind of hard. I'm low-key kind of thinking of taking a tackle or a guard for them. I just don't know who it would be. Like, where's Armand Membu? Are they just not high on Membu at all, or is he a guard? He might be a guard. Where's Membu? Because that would be the guy that I would probably take. Is Membu just not here? Is he a center? Hello? Am I the only one not seeing Armand Membu here? Anthony Belton, Marcus Bowe. No way he's this low. Wow, 465. I think Armand Membu could go first round. That's okay. Either way, that's confusing. You could. I'm like messing up this entire thing right now because I can't scroll all the way back to the top. This is so annoying. Hold on. Technical difficulties. All right, we're here. Tight end is interesting for the Bengals. I've thought about like Colson Loveland to them just because Mike Gesicki is just nothing for them, to be honest. I do kind of want to experiment with defensive interior though. Kenneth Grant's interesting. Let's go Talik Williams, though. I like putting Talik Williams in the first round. I think he's been really good in the college football playoffs, and I have a lot of faith in him in the league. I think he's somebody who's really good against the run with solid pass rush upside. Like I said, 9 pressures in 2 games for Ohio State in the playoffs. Like, he started off really, really, really well. 18 for the Seattle Seahawks. That's what that team is. I've gone Jonas Savania a lot, but I'm going to switch it up and talk about the guy that I severely underrated, but Armand Membu. I gave him to the Jags in a 2-round mock draft a while ago, and since then he's honestly skyrocketed in terms of like where people think he's going to go. He had a really, really good year for Mizzou, and I think that he's somebody with that same tackle and guard flexibility. I think if he doesn't work out at tackle, he can honestly go play guard. I do think Jonah's probably going to go a little bit lower than I think. I think I'm just higher on him in his value than the consensus is, so he might be somebody who slips around 2 for me in this mock draft. Pick 19 for the Bucks. Again, this is another. I've been doing this for so long, but let's go Jihad Campbell. It's either here or the Falcons for him, or even the Cardinals, honestly. But he's just so versatile because you can play him at linebacker, where I think he's a little bit more raw as a linebacker. He's a very good blitzer, but I do think that. I mean, he was the top recruit. He was the top edge in his class in high school, and the only reason he didn't play edge is because Alabama had a plethora of them. So he just went to go play linebacker, and he's done that at a very high level. Broncos here at 20. I'm gonna go with Luther Burden. I haven't really done that much recently, but I do think it's an interesting thought. Like I've always said, like Marvin Mims is your slot guy. I think Marvin Mims can probably stretch the field a lot better. So I think you would have Luther Burden as your guy who catches like underneath routes and things like that. Just can really he's really good with the ball in his hands. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think somebody like that would be really valuable for Bo Nix and how he played at Oregon. Like, he threw the ball underneath a lot, and having somebody who can make crazy plays happen after the catch like Luther Burden, it's going to be really, really valuable for him. Steelers here at 21. I'm just not going to take a receiver for them this high. I don't love the fit of Emeka Egbuka to the team, just because I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be an outside receiver for them. I think he is more effective in the slot, but I do think the value of him is he's a good player. He's a really, really good player. I think he is your wide receiver too, but I do think he primarily plays in the slot. I do think I go corner here. Is that Trey Amos, who I've really, really liked a lot. I also like Darian Porter a lot. Learned a lot more about him. He is a sixth-year player. And also has played receiver and special teams for pretty much his entire career until last year, where he played corner. And he was really good. But he's going to test out insane. Like, of course, they don't have his height and weight in here. I believe he's 6'4", 200 pounds. He's incredible. Honestly, I like him. I like him a lot. And I think with his tools being so high, at such a high level, like, you can kind of like disregard the age a little bit when it comes to him. I believe he's probably 24, might be 25 by the end of his rookie year, but I do think that's a really, really good player as well. There is something to say about like Cam Hayward for this team and finding a replacement for him. Who do you think that could be? I'm not sure just yet. But I do think I'm going to go with Trey Amos because I really think he's a great player. I loved watching him. I finally got around to watching a little bit of his tape. Played SEC talent his entire career, and he's just been very, very solid. Played at Alabama, played at Ole Miss. He's played against the highest level of competition, and just a very, very good press corner, man coverage, and very good at the catch point as well. Chargers here at 22. We are going to go Colston Loveland. Sorry, Eagles fans. I know I kind of finessed him to the Eagles last week. We're not going to be doing that again. Colston Loveland's too good to leave on the board. And after Justin Herbert threw 4 picks, let's get him some more reliable weapons. Green Bay here at 23. I think I'm going to mix it up, and we are going to go with Jedi Barron. I've said in the past that I don't love his fit to this team, but I do think that Jeff Hafley actually plays a lot more like off zone than I thought. I feel like they're just a very versatile defense. So I think if he doesn't go here, I think I would put him to the Bills. Obviously, that's what I've said is my dream fit a billion times now. But yeah, I do think that he's a really good player. Vikings here at 24. I've gone running back for them a couple times with Amari and Hampton, like earlier in the process. I would honestly do it again. But I do think that corner is more valuable. Sadly, Jedi Barron just got taken. That's upsetting. Maybe Ben Morrison for this team, Savon Revel. But I think I'm going to go interior. I think I'm going to go Walter Nolan. Again, they need interior pass rush. They really just need an interior player, but interior pass rush. Walter Nolan's a solid run defender as well. Just a good pick overall. 25 to the Texans. I'm going to take probably Emeka Egbuka. You could definitely go interior for them as well. I just don't see the value this high, and I think reuniting C.J. Stroud with a very familiar face is going to be something that's going to put C.J. Stroud back on the trajectory that he was supposed to be at this year. Rams here at 26. You're just jumping for joy that tackles are on the board here. I'm taking Josh Simmons 10 out of 10 times. Honestly, could have gone higher. I think that the ACL injury might not be something like we're at the point where technology and modern medicine is so good that ACL injuries really don't kill football players as much as they do like even basketball players. Like, didn't Kevin Durant tear his ACL and come back like even better, honestly? So like I feel like we're at a point where like torn ACLs, like, yes, they ruin your season, but like I think if Josh Simmons, and we saw this for the first couple of games this year, was playing like one of the top tackles in the class, I don't expect that to change, to be honest. Commanders here at 27. I wish receivers were still on the board for them. I've gone corner a couple times for them. I really do like the fit of Savon Revel. I do think that the injury and him not being able to test out probably, I don't know if his offseason's like completely cooked because of his ACL injury, but I mean, I feel like it was so early in the season that I don't know if, I feel like he should be back, but who knows. I think I'm going to go with Josh Conerly for them. Josh Conerly, I think, is a great tackle player. Honestly, he's really impressed me at Oregon. I said he had some of the highest end reps that I've seen. Like, his best reps were some of the best that I've seen in the class. Probably the best that I've seen in the class. And I think a lot of people are just really just riding the hype train with him now. I feel like I might have been on it a little bit earlier than other people, if I want to take credit for that. But Josh Conerly is a first-round player, in my opinion, now. Ravens here at 28, probably crying that Josh Conerly's not on the board, sadly. But I think we're going to go with edge for them. This could be Mike Green. I do like that. I've been going Shamar Stewart. I'm a little bit lower on Shamar Stewart now. I've done a lot more research. I'm just not the biggest Shamar Stewart guy. I do think corner is still in play here. Ben Morrison. I think I might go with Ben Morrison here. I think that's going to be... I think if Morrison was going to return, I feel like he would wait. I feel like he wouldn't wait to say that he was returning. He might just be waiting to see if he hears back from like any good things from the NFL, if he's still around one player. But I don't know. I think if the injuries and the medical red flags check out and we're like, okay, he's good to go, it might not be a long-term concern. However, it was a hip injury, which usually is not great for corners. I don't know. It's really, really hard to read where Ben Morrison's at right now, man. But I only wish him the best. Bills here at 29. I've gone interior for them a lot. I honestly might continue to do so here with a KG or a Derek Harmon. Edge, that's another position that they need, but I think I can wait for some guys down the board and be pretty happy with that. Corner, if you had a Jedi Baron here, that would have been the pick 10 out of 10 times. Receiver's interesting. You're probably going to lose Mari Cooper in the offseason, but I don't really love any of these guys like this high. So what do we do here? I think we're just going to take Derek Harmon. Eagles here at pick 30. I'm going to explore a new route for them, and I'm going to go with an edge rusher that I think is a better fit to their team than somebody like an LT Overton, who I was giving some a lot earlier, and that's going to be Mike Green. I think he's a really, really good really, really good player. Sorry, I was looking at my phone real quick and just got an Instagram notification. But either way, Mike Green, I think, could play really, really well next to Nolan Smith, who's stepped up a little bit this year. He definitely was really solid for them. But Mike Green, just one of the most dominant players in college football. Like, had a great year for Marshall. I know it is Marshall, but also, look at the Ohio State game. He gave them hell. So I think he can do it against top-end talent as well. And I've kind of stopped, like, scouting helmets and, like, where people go to school. Like, obviously, yes, you get a little bit of, like, a boost if you're in the SEC, but I don't think it hurts you as much. Like, if you're a good player, I think you're a good player. But yeah, I think Mike Green's a really good fit to this team. Kansas City Chiefs here at 31. I've given them corner a lot with, like, Trey Amos. Is my computer frozen? What is happening? Okay, that was concerning. Man, I just don't trust them to develop tackle, to be honest. If I did, that would easily be the pick. Thought about running back for them a couple of times, but I think getting somebody later is probably a better option. Receiver, maybe not. Maybe anticipating Trey Smith leaving. I think I'm going to go with Wyatt Milam. I think his, again, guard tackle flexibility, but I think you primarily play him at guard. And I would just go with that, honestly. I don't trust them to develop tackle, but man, just hope that he's good enough to play there. But again, obviously could just fill in the likely Trey Smith replacement. I was going to say Cincinnati Bengals. I'm losing it. I don't know what's happening. But either way, Detroit Lions here at 32. I'm going to go with Jack Sawyer. I'm starting to like him a lot more, honestly. And honestly, I think he's very much just a Detroit Lions football player. I think it's a really good fit for him. Really good environment. But either way, that's going to be round 1 of this mock. Again, like I said, rounds 2 and 3 should be tomorrow after this video comes out. So we will address other needs for other teams. But yeah, remember to leave a like and sub if y'all mess with the content, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.